The topic, Bradley McDougald. The question, how much will he be able to bring to the New York Jets? Let's just jump into it. So Bradley McDougald is far from a fantastic player. In fact, I would imagine plenty of New York Jets fans hadn't even heard his name before they figured out he was going to be part of the Jamal Adams trade. But he can do some things very well. And let's just start off with this play. And what's going to happen is that it's man coverage, and those two Cincinnati receivers are going to be running across each other. So it's not really a pick play, but it's kind of a similar idea. It's third down. They'll need to get 5 yards here to get the first down. So this is what they're going to try and do, and McDougald is the defensive back who's closest to the sideline, so he will be covering the slant route here. It's not a very difficult play to figure out what they're doing. The more difficult thing is just trying to be able to stop it. And so right after the ball is snapped, McDougald realizes, okay, this is, he realizes what's going on. Cincinnati wasn't really hiding it. That yellow line you see on the screen is the first down marker. So McDougald was going to have to make a very quick tackle to not allow a first down here. But that's going to be exactly what he's able to do. And, that's the thing about McDougald is he very much is kind of that, he's a solid, strong safety. Is he Jamal Adams? No, of course not. But, listen, they're getting someone who has a similar skill set, just much lower quality of that skill set. He's still someone who can make tackles well. And so that's kind of, I think, part of why they're acquiring him is they don't want to just tank their 2020 season altogether by losing a great player. So this can kind of give them some value back. Like this plays another example of a very similar thing. So sort of similar concept as man coverage, but this time McDougald is not he's not on the top of the screen. He's going to be covering the other route, the route that goes towards the sideline. It's a tight end right there. So he's going to try and quickly get in and try to make the play that way. But again, he's able to do this. He's able to run over, and he's able to make a play. And so, again, it's like those things where he can realize what's going on. He's a good tackler, and he makes the plays that you're supposed to make more often than not. I also think he can shine in the running game. Again, not as good as Jamal Adams, but few people are. Like on this play, it's going to be it's a running play to the top of the screen. They're going to have a Cincinnati halfback run up there, and you see McDougald. He's the one who I've circled in white. He's basically the closest unblocked man. The way this play is supposed to work is that whoever can get sort of to the sideline area, or at least higher up there quicker, is going to win this play. But McDougald has to be careful. If he breaks too far in that direction, then the back could just cut in earlier and get in. So McDougald is the guy who he has to make a play on this one for the most part, unless someone else is able to get away from their block and they make the play, but probably McDougald. And while other Seattle defenders do actually do a good job of coming in and making the play, McDougald is also going to very quickly run over, and he makes this play as well. So, good teamwork by Seattle. But again, it was a good play from McDougald, and again, those are the kind of things he can do. He can do the basic plays. He's a good, strong safety in your typical strong safety role. He's fine. He's not going to blow you away, but he's good. That being said, he's not the best in coverage. I mean, it's fine to say that. I think that Seattle did a pretty good job of kind of hiding him to some degree, where they run their cover 3 play, which basically means that only one safety is deep, and so McDougald could kind of play more shallow a lot of the times, and for a good reason, because when they would do cover 2, things would not go over too well a lot of the time. Like on this play, it's a cover 2 zone, and the two routes that you see on the screen are the two most important routes on this play. One is just to go out towards the sideline. The other is, you see a tight end going to kind of cut a little bit past the zones in the middle of the field, but it's going to cut in front of Bradley McDougald. So, obviously, the way this works is that, there's a receiver who runs deep. McDougald has no choice but to stay deep. And then basically you want a linebacker to kind of try to move over and take away the tight end's route. And if they can't, because that is kind of difficult to do, Cousins can make a throw and they can get the completion. If the linebackers don't notice it at all, there will only be a split second where it will be open. But this is something that can work out, and it can get you a first down. Can get you more than 10 yards on this play. So that's why it's a good play. But this play is going to go from good to great very early on, because as you see, right when this ball is snapped, McDougald was going to try to take away that route just by himself, which you can do. I'm not saying you can't do this kind of thing, but the problem is you have to make sure that either no one else is running deep, or you have to make sure that if someone else is running deep, that another defensive player has taken away that route so you can run over and try to make this play. That's what you can do. But McDougald, he didn't do this, and it's possible there was some sort of miscommunication and it wasn't his fault, and he thought someone else was supposed to be going deep, but he didn't. But at the end of the day, this is just a mistake that can't happen, and it does, at the end of the day, fall back onto safety. Not to mention, he didn't even really do a good job of taking away the route over the middle, and this is going to leave a Minnesota player just completely wide open, where he can just, say, hey, I'm open, give me a ball, please, thank you very much, and runs into the end zone for a touchdown. Again, it's just the kind of thing where it's like, if a play like that happens, it's the safety's fault all the time. Even if it was someone else's fault too, it's still the safety's fault. You have to be able to be aware enough to not let that happen. So, again, not a great play, and it's not really like you're seeing that happen all the time, but that's just one of the examples of him not necessarily being the best in coverage. Another example is this, where it's a cover 3 zone this time, so this is much more McDougald's speed. So there's a player who's going to run a route that gets in McDougald's zone, then gets a little bit towards a gap in coverage. But McDougald, once this play starts to develop, he does a good job of realizing what's going on. He stays with that route, so that way, not much separation right here. So give him credit in that aspect. He did do a good job of, sometimes you try to stay in your zone too long. At the end of the day, a zone in coverage is just, it's a recommendation. It's not something you have to do. And if no one's in your zone of coverage, then you should move, and you should find someone who's trying to get into a gap in coverage. But the problem here with McDougald is simply just going to be ball skills. He's not the best at going up and making a play, and even though there isn't much separation, he isn't really able to come close to knocking that ball away. And again, that's just a problem. It's just something that he's not the best at. You can throw on him, but again, if you play a lot of just single safety deep, which you gotta suspect New York will do, then I think that it's not really the end of the world to have a safety who's kind of more of a run stopper than someone who can be successful in coverage. I said on my initial Jamal Adams video, I feel like McDougald is he's kind of like that perfect guy where I would say if you're better than McDougald, you're a starting safety. If you're worse than McDougald, you are not a starting safety. I think that's kind of he's the line. He's the Mendoza line, so to speak, where he's the guy where, you kind of compare yourself to him, and that's what you do. So, again, obviously, as we all know, the Seahawks didn't make this trade, and, the Jets didn't make this trade because of Bradley McDougald. He was kind of an afterthought in this move. But at the same time, listen, you're getting a solid player back. And for New York, I'm assuming that they have at least some hope they can be competitive this year. And now that they've gotten a good safety, they don't have to just completely give up on that hope. They can still feel like they have a legitimate shot. Although, obviously, I think their odds this year would have obviously been better if they had Adams. But their odds in the future and for future seasons are clearly better with the multiple first-round picks, especially since it seems like Adams' days were numbered as part of the New York Jets. I find Bradley McDougald going over to the Jets interesting. What do you guys think about that? And also, if you didn't comment on my last video about this trade, what do you guys think of the trade as a whole? Did you like it from the Jets' perspective? Do you not like it from the Jets' perspective? I find it very interesting. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.